Hey guys, so the light is kind of terrible right now. It's pretty dark out, but I wanted to show you some terrain that I've been working on before I put it away this evening, terrain that I finished. So uh, I've been working on quite a few different things. So here's the first kind of couple things here. So we've got sort of a young vineyard or any kind of row crops. There's kind of supposed to be a vineyard and stone walls. So the stone walls, these are pretty easy to make. What the method I use, you kind of wait a long time with the drying. So basically, I take some pieces of poster board, basically glue them onto vinyl floor tile that's really cheap, and then rock came loose, and then glue rocks, gravel on them, spray them gray, and then do a bunch of dry brushing, put a green wash on it, and then put some vegetation on there. And I think it makes a pretty passable stone wall. And they actually look better in person than they do on the camera due to the lighting. And some of the walls are better than others, I will say too. And this is kind of part of a push by me. I really want to get my terrain looking better and make my tables look like actual places on Earth rather than just kind of the flat step, that so often we kind of play on. So these are the row crops. They're supposed to be rows of vines, young grapevines, which are often low to the ground. And when the stuff comes in, I'm going to be making trellised ones as well, but in the early stage the vines are staked like this until they grow taller. So these are just cut out this stuff, scouring pads, and then glue flock onto them and stick them on a base, of course. So pretty simple, but I think this is going to look really nice on a table. And again, really trying to get my tables to look like actual places that people that would be worth fighting over, because most battles, somewhere on kind of empty deserted plains, but most where people were, because that's what the armies are interested in controlling, is the people and the crops. Next we got this big bucket of hedgerows. This is gonna, they're kind of crappy looking, but these are just wire wool. Some of them look better than others, covered in flock, steel wool covered in flock. I think the stone walls came out a lot nicer, but I think these are, perfectly usable, and they're a lot less time intensive than the stone walls. If I was doing these hedges again, I would do something to break them up. I would stick them on different bases. I would, mix in some ground cover and stuff instead of just having the hedges. But I made these very quickly, very efficiently, very cheaply. So that's a win, and I got a whole bucket of them. So, in the future I might do a nicer job with these. This was kind of an experiment, and I just needed bulk hedges, and mainly for World War II kind of stuff. So the next thing I did is these rocks. These are actually 3D printed plastic, which, I wouldn't usually buy something like that, but I ended up buying them. And these actually, I think, turned out really nicely, a lot nicer than I thought they would. Because they do have, when I was kind of looking at them, they do have kind of visible print lines or whatever it's called, but I was able, and I didn't really want to get into filing that off. I'm not sure what material these are made out of. They kind of, the material itself seems to have some kind of texture to it just from I don't even know. how the 3D printing works, but the material itself seems to have some kind of texture. And then there are also these kind of mold lines on top of it, and they're kind of unnatural. They're unnatural textures, but these ended up coming out really nicely. And I did these very similar to the stone walls. Spray painted gray, dry brushing, a little bit of green wash on there to kind of be like moss, and then flocked on it too. And I put, flock on the rocks as well to kind of convey that moss that tends to grow on rocks. And the green wash also too will help it blend in with the table, because the gray rocks can really like stand out, I guess. But I think these turned out really nicely. They'll do for some nice patches of rough terrain. I ran out of glue this evening, so I can't continue much further. But I cut out these sections of tile, and these were gonna be, I'm gonna just glue a bunch of sand and gravel on them, and they're gonna be rough terrain. And then I'm gonna do them so they match with the rocks, the colors, and then, you can put probably just one rock on here, but make it look kind of a rocky area, so that would be like a rough terrain patch. And then when you move troops, you could move this around so that it's out of the way. But that's what I was kind of thinking with those. And the other thing I'm working on, which I'm not going to really bother with showing you right now, is making some length of drainage ditch, which was actually played an important role in several battles, the drainage ditches, but those were a feature on many fields, on a lot of landscapes. So I think that'll be a cool kind of linear feature to do. That'll be a lot easier than painting a river. And there was one battle in the late Hellenistic era between the Achaean League and this kind of resurgent Spartan power, which I'm forgetting the name of the battle, and the main guy who was in it, he's the general of the Achaean League. Totally just blanking on it, right? Philopoemen. I can't remember the name of the battle, but Philopoemen, Plutarch has a biography of him in Plutarch's Lives. Philopoemen's kind of called the last Greek. And in his, big battle moment of glory, there was this massive drainage ditch across the field, which proved a decisive obstacle. So I'm going to stop rambling. That's the work that I've kind of done today. I'll catch you in the next one, and hopefully, the goal is to build a lot of really nice terrain features for the table. The theme here is kind of, I think this stuff is generic. It could really go in almost any any time period. I do have the Ancient Greek Farmhouse by Sarissa Precision. I would like to get to that at some point, and I think it'd be really cool to build a kind of whole farm with the vineyards and the olive groves and the fields, and then actually kind of fight around a landscape that looks more convincing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.